Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andy from Magoo Investing. Happy Tuesday. Before hopping into today's video, I would love if you guys would put maybe one or two of your favorite stocks that you'd like me to go over in a video towards the end of this week. I want to start making videos talking about the stocks that you guys are looking at. Partially because maybe I'm not running out of stocks, but I feel like I'm kind of talking about the same like 25 stocks every month. So I'd love if you would just give me one or two stocks that you're watching and you'd like me to go over in a future video. But in today's video, I was going to the gym this morning, and I like going around like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I walked out this morning, slipped on some ice, had to defrost my car, was absolutely miserable. Got to the gym, was doing some cardio, saw an ad for Lululemon, and it reminded me, I was like, oh my gosh, we're almost in the middle of November. We're coming up to the holiday season. I should make a video about the best stocks to buy going into the holiday season. And so that was the inspiration for today's video. Also, from one of the 4 stocks we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to hop on the computer and I'm going to show you some technical analysis on why I think one of these stocks is a fantastic buy right now. This isn't something that I'd look for, maybe for it to pull back. I think based off of the charts, it's great right now. So I'm excited to talk about that in today's video. Before hopping into it, I do have to say that I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Anything you hear in this video is just me giving my own opinions on the stock market, and you need to do your own research before making any investment decisions. Also, if you've been enjoying these videos, really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. With that out of the way, let's hop right into it and talk about the stock that was kind of the inspiration for this video with Lululemon, ticker symbol LULU. So currently Lululemon is trading for $327 and it's up 41% on the year. And this is one of my favorite stocks going forward. And based off of the ad that I saw, which had to do with a company that they acquired called Mirror for $500 million this past summer, it really made me excited for the future of this company. Partially because I was absolutely miserable having to defrost my car this morning. And I got really excited about the prospects of what we've been seeing with this acquisition. I think it's going to be really smart going forward. But before getting into that, the company in the past couple years has grown at a crazy rate. 2016, they had a revenue of $2 billion, and in 2020, they've had $4 billion. So they've doubled their revenue in just a couple years. They've done similar things with their operating income, doubling it during that time, and they're even able to stay positive during the lockdowns with an operating income of $33 million from the quarter that went from April to June. But the reason, as I mentioned, that I'm really excited for Lulu going forward has to do with their acquisition of Mirror for $500 million. If you don't know what Mirror is, it looks like a mirror that you put on a wall, and it's kind of a home fitness center. And so it has a screen that has a bunch of different classes. You have to pay a monthly membership, and it is not cheap, kind of similar to Peloton. It is $1,500 to start. But as I was doing my workout, I was thinking, going into the winter season, I feel like this is going to be one of the top products that's going to be selling. Obviously, it's not cheap, but we've seen the success with companies like Peloton, ticker symbol PTON, that is up 273% this year. And it's making the home fitness sector look even better at this point. If we go into some more lockdowns, Mirror is going to do well. As we're going into the winter and people don't want to leave their house, can't work out outside, it seems like a great opportunity. Even without Mirror, I do love Lulu. It's one of these companies out there that has such a following. It's almost like a cult following when it comes to their products. They have this loyal fan base when it comes to their apparel. They have this new exciting technology with Mirror, and that makes me very excited. And as I talked about from my Nike video, anytime I buy into a retailer, especially during the pandemic, I want to see how they've done with online sales, because that really shows how committed customers are to their brand if they're willing to go online and buy it instead of just purchasing it at a store. And in the last quarter, Lulu saw online sales jump 157%, and even during the pandemic, they saw their revenue increase by 2% year over year, and they beat almost all of the analyst expectations from that earnings report. So Lulu has done very well during the pandemic. They've shown how dedicated of a fan base that they have. They have this new exciting acquisition with Mirror, and I think this is a company that I'm considering buying it going into the end of this year, but I think it's a stock that's going to do very well with their next earnings report based off of this holiday season. I think Mirror is going to be a hot commodity when it comes to the holiday season, and I think just their overall product line is going to be in demand going into the winter. So Lulu is going to be my number 1 stock on this list, and let me know what you think about Lululemon, ticker symbol LULU, in the comment section down below. The next stock on this list is going to be Activision Blizzard, ticker symbol ATVI. And currently Activision Blizzard is trading for $75 and it's up 27% on the year. When I was doing research for this video, I kind of expected Activision Blizzard to be doing a little bit better than 27%. Obviously, pretty solid, but for someone like myself that has owned Zynga in the past, I believe it's up like 70% at this point, and I thought Activision Blizzard would be doing a lot better. If you've been on this channel for a while, this has been one of my favorite stocks for the past year. The main reason why I was so bullish on it going into 2020 had to do with the fact that I thought esports were going to be a huge thing for them going into this year. Obviously, the pandemic has kind of hurt those plans a little bit, but they have incredible growth when it comes to their video game franchises. And so they currently have 3 $1 billion franchises when it comes to annual sales in Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush. Yeah, that free-to-play iPhone game. $1 billion franchise. And so in the last quarter, they had 100 million monthly players in their free-to-play Call of Duty game, Warzone. In the last earnings report, they did surprisingly really good. Based off of the stay-at-home movement, I kind of expected the analyst expectations to be so high that it wouldn't be possible for them to meet it, but somehow they did it. They had revenue of almost $2 billion, and that was a 52.4% increase year over year. They saw a 270% increase in the Activision part of their business, which has to do with Call of Duty, Warzone, and then they had the re-release of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So they've had some big releases this year. And then their playtime was 7 times higher in the past quarter compared to a year ago. So this is a company that has a bunch of franchises that are doing really well. They've seen incredible growth, 52% increase for their revenue year over year, 7 times more playtime. They raised their full year guidance to $7.7 billion. And then going into the next generation of consoles, I'm really excited for what they're going to do. I think video games have gotten a little stagnant going into the end of the life cycle of the Xbox One and the PS4. And I think this increase in demand for the new consoles will push a lot of people towards these franchises that maybe they haven't played in a couple years, stuff like Call of Duty. So I think they're going to do really well. I think it's the best video game stock out there when it comes to consoles. I still think Zynga is great, but I'm a big fan of Activision Blizzard more than something like EA or a Take-Two Interactive. And then going forward, they've had this ridiculous growth so far with their Activision sector, but I think the pandemic, once this eventually wraps up, I think the esports are going to be something that's going to be so big for them. We've seen ESPN start to dip their toes into covering esports, and I think it's something that's going to give a lot of longevity to the company. So Activision Blizzard, ticker symbol ATVI, is one of my favorite buys going into the holiday season, specifically because the new consoles are coming out and they've done so well with their Activision sector so far this year. So let me know what you think about ATVI in the comment section down below. Okay, so now I wanted to talk about some actual retailers, and I thought about going with the online retailer with Amazon, but I decided to go with Best Buy, ticker symbol BBY, which is currently trading for $113 and it's up 29% on the year. And so I thought about talking about Amazon, but I don't know what I would really say about Amazon besides they're really good at what they do. They've been expanding at a ridiculous rate. Their Amazon Web Services have been doing so well during the pandemic. But I wanted to talk about one of the bright spots of the retailers that's been able to survive the onslaught of Amazon and actually do really well. And so just a couple years ago, it was looking like Best Buy wasn't going to be able to survive, mainly because people would go into Best Buy, look at the products, and then buy it online from Amazon because usually it was cheaper. And so Best Buy had a couple options. They could just give up or they could restructure the way their business is run. And one of the big things that they did was they started doing price matching. And so people would go into the stores, and why would you wait a couple days to order it from Amazon when you could just buy it at Best Buy? And so that has really turned around the company, and it has been such a huge factor for why they've been thriving so far in the past couple years. It's been one of the bright spots of the actual retail sector in the past couple years. And so with Black Friday coming up, I don't think it's going to look like a normal Black Friday. I don't think we're going to have the ridiculous lines of people waiting out the door. I think it's going to be a lot more online shopping. And just like what we saw with Lulu, Best Buy saw huge increases in their online sales. The company had a 242% increase year over year in online sales, which is even better than something like a Lulu, which I was very impressed with. This is a physical retailer that has shown that they can make the switch to the online sales. So it gives a lot of flexibility going into this holiday season. I really don't know how Black Friday is going to look. I feel like it's going to be more prolonged than normal. We've started stretching into Cyber Monday, and I think it might just be an online, mainly online focused Black Friday and holiday season. But based off that 242% increase in online sales, I'm feeling pretty good about Best Buy going forward. But I do want to hop on the computer to show you some technical analysis on how I'm feeling about Best Buy and why it's actually one of the best looking stocks to buy like right now. And so let's hop on the computer and I'll talk about that. Okay, so here we are looking at the long-term chart for Best Buy, ticker symbol BBY, and there are 2 lines on this chart that are not normally on most of my videos. And it's not something I use very often, but I wanted to take a look at it now because as we're looking for long-term plays, this is a great way to just kind of see the momentum of a stock. And the 2 lines on here are the 50 and the 200-day simple moving average. What this means is it is the average price for the last 50 days, and it shows the overall trend of a stock. And some of the things that you can find off of this these lines is one of my favorite things. It's called the Golden Cross. And it's when the 50-day, which is the purple line, crosses over the 200. And this is usually very bullish. This shows usually a reversal. And as you can see, it is a lagging indicator, which means that it does take a while for it to catch up. So it's not something where you can kind of just watch this every day. And when the stock decides it's going to start going the opposite direction, it's going to have that indication. It's going to take a little bit, but it is a great sign of confirmation for a change of a trend. And so as you can see here, this happened back in June of this year, and since then it's just been chugging along. Another great thing that happens with the 50 moving average is a lot of the time it is respected as a support. And we've seen that recently as the stock has kind of bounced off of it once, twice, 3 times, 4, and after that big move down yesterday, it has started to bounce this morning. And so I wasn't normally going to talk about this chart today, but I think it's a really interesting thing. And based off of, it recently came down to this level, what was that, a week ago? And this could be a great buying opportunity right now for a short-term play. It does not have a lot of upside to the top considering it has struggled to break above, let me draw that. It has struggled to break above this 124 area. But based off of the 50-day moving average being acting as a potential support, I might be watching this for the rest of this week. Okay, the last stock on today's list is going to be Walmart, ticker symbol WMT, currently trading for $145 and is up 22% so far on the year. Walmart does have earnings coming up in around a week at this point. Normally I would kind of wait to talk about a stock like that, but with how well established Walmart is, I'm not really worried about that earnings report. It's not going to be a huge catalyst for going up or down significantly just based off how stable it is. But we can look at the last earnings report to see how well they've done during the pandemic. And as you would expect, they've done very well. They brought in $138 billion in revenue in the last quarter. They say a 9.3% jump in in-store sales, a 97% increase in online sales, and their new members increased by 60%. And so based off of this crazy beat from the earnings report, you'd expect that the stock would do very well, but the stock actually fell from the earnings report as there was some of the wording that they used made it seem like maybe the growth isn't going to continue as much. But this is one of my safer picks when it comes to stocks to buy going into the holiday season. And the main reason behind that is we are seeing spiking virus cases, which is a huge problem. And if we go back into a lockdown, what's a stock that'll stay open fully? Something like a Walmart, because it is considered an essential business, because it is, fun fact, it is the largest grocery store in the US, and it's not even close. They brought in $288 billion in revenue, while second place with Kroger had a revenue of $121 billion. So they're not even close. And so they are considered an essential business, and they won't be shut down if we have another round of lockdowns. And so that makes me feel very safe going into the end of this year. This is a stock that they've seen crazy jumps in revenue, in-store sales, online sales, new members. And so going forward, I think this is one of my favorite safe stocks to buy out there. I've talked about it in the past. So overall, those are my 4 stocks that I love going into holiday season. There is a lot of risk going into this holiday season. It's not going to look like a normal Black Friday, Cyber Monday type deal. I think it might switch primarily to online sales. And the companies that we've talked about here are going to do very well with that. Activision Blizzard with the next generation of consoles that can be bought on the actual console. Lululemon, that's a 157% increase in online sales. Even something like a Best Buy had a 242% increase in online sales. And then Walmart has had a 97% increase in online sales. These are companies that are going to do well pretty much no matter what happens with the overall reopening process. And these are stocks that I feel very good about. And so let me know if I missed any of your favorite holiday stocks to buy. Maybe I'll make a second video. Also, if there are stocks you'd like me to talk about in a future video, just a breakdown of your favorite stocks, let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I will see you in the next video.